Welcome to Northern BC Narrative on Location. Today, we have another amazing person with us, Bill. And he's a volunteer firefighter,
Yep.
firearm instructor, Batman at night, Superman in the day. Bill, it's a pleasure to have you.
Likewise.
Nice nice firm handshake. Your father was like that too. Nowadays, nobody give that, handshake, right? So
Yeah.
let's do it again. It's like, you know this is going to be a good interview when the handshake is firm. So Bill, talk about yourself and what you do.
Well, as you mentioned, I'm a volunteer firefighter. I've been doing that for a little over 20 years. Also a firearms instructor and a carpenter by trade. So
Carpenter by trade.
yeah. So that's how I make most of my money. So
From carpenting.
Yeah, carpenter. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's I got a lot of hats I wear.
But you like it, right?
Keeps me busy. Yeah.
I was looking at your knuckles and your hands, right? I was like,
Oh, they're just dried out. That's
I thought maybe you're a boxer too or something like that. But now you tell me you're a carpenter, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You always smash your hands and things like that.
It's not so much that. I was actually doing a little bit of grout the other day, and
The cement dried it? Or?
yeah, it dries. Yeah, anytime it didn't used to bother me, but now whenever I do concrete work, my hands just dry right out. So yeah, it's joys of the trade, even when I wear the gloves and all that stuff. So
There's some, because I see some stuff like that too, but it's what they put inside of the concrete, right?
yeah, it's caustic. So
Yeah, it just dries everything, right?
Yeah.
The worst is when your eyes and your face start to get like dry, right? So
yeah, no, it's just my hands, and that's just from work. So yeah.
okay, good, perfect. So talk about yourself a little bit, and like how you started everything. Like talk about your childhood a little bit, because I know you have a very interesting father. How was it growing up with your dad?
Oh, it was good. Lived rurally, so outside of city limits. So grew up in the bush. Very typical childhood for this area.
What is a typical childhood? Because not you see, most people they don't know, right?
Yeah, well,
talk about all the good stuff.
That's what I say for this area, right? Yeah, no, I had a couple of really good friends growing up. We spent tons of time out in the bush, even when we were at each other's place. No matter whose place we were at, we were always outside. So yeah, it was nothing for us to spend all day running around outside, only coming in for lunch.
So what is the childhood like here? Talk about that, right? Because most people are like a lot of people, right? If they're from the city, they think that like everything is like that, right? So how is it different? Talk about that.
Well, most of my time was spent out in the bush. Is a large part of it. If I wasn't hanging out with my friends, I was out in the bush with my dad. So
what were you doing?
Well, he's a trapper and grew up hunting, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it would be nothing for us to be out on the trap line all day, clearing trails or prepping for trapping season. And then come trapping season, I'd tag along with him every now and then. Probably annoyed the heck out of him every time I did. So that's yeah, no, it's lots of times out in the bush.
Yeah. What did you learn from your dad?
I'd like to say everything, but no, definitely learned lots. Well, he was a high school science and math teacher, so I mean that definitely helped with getting through school. But on top of that, basically a lot of survival stuff in the bush, hunting, trapping. Definitely gave me a good work ethic. That definitely came from him.
Talk about how was it to go on hunting and trapping? Just talk about it, the experience. What is it exactly?
Well, like I said, I mean, I grew up with it, so it was just commonplace for me. It was, I mean, to me, everyone did it as a kid. It was pretty rare when I talked to someone and they didn't do it. So.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I don't know about this stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I was a kid, right? Like I said, grew up out of city limits there, right? So all my buddies, their dads hunted. It was, I mean, even, yeah, there's a couple where they didn't hunt that much, but that was usually because they had cattle or something like that. But even then, they would still go out and do a little bit of it. So,
talk about the experience. So how does it start? Like
hunting? Well,
you have the experience of the whole day, like how it works, right? So you get a good visual. Take as long as you want. So.
Well, it depends what you're hunting. We love going after birds.
Okay, let's talk about
bird hunt, you're up way before the sun comes up.
Wow.
Actually, it starts the day before. You gotta figure out what field they're coming into.
Okay. We'll talk about that. What do you mean you have to?
So what we'll do is we'll go out the night before, just before the sun goes down. We'll just watch, see which field the birds are landing in, and as specifically as to what part of the field they're landing in. The next morning, we'll go out and we'll put up a blind. So a lot of guys use the lay down blinds, but to use that, you have to be able to sit up very quickly, which my dad doesn't do very well.
Why? Why do you have to? But you have to sit up very quickly.
Well, lay down blind, you start laying right on your back.
Are you serious? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Because well, you're in a cover. The blind is basically the nickname for them is coffin blinds.
Okay.
Okay.
You're
So
talking to somebody who has definitely.
yeah. So they call it a coffin blind because it looks like a coffin that you're lying in. It's canvas or some sort of camouflage material. Guys will brush it in, which basically means they take grass, twigs, bury it in that. And you got a flap that comes down over you while you're laying down. So when the birds start coming in, you sit up, blind pops open, and you can start shooting the birds. But he doesn't do the lay down blind, so we'll do a different style blind. Basically, we'll put a whole bunch of willows in the ground in a circle, and we're camouflaged up, sitting in that before the birds come in. Once the sun comes up, you'll start hearing the birds. We also have decoys out in the field and stuff. So
What do you mean decoy?
fake birds.
Why?
It attracts the other birds, gives them a landing zone, basically.
Hey, safe here.
yeah, exactly, right? So you'll, I mean, some guys get right into it and they'll figure out what direction the wind's going and all that kind of stuff. So we'll basically try and set up a spot for them to land. And so as soon as you hear the birds honking, you start on the calls and try and attract them to where you are. And once they come in, you jump up and just start shooting. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it's one of the funner hunts, in my opinion, is doing a bird hunt. So yeah, that's a bird hunt. Big game. Most of the hunting I've done has been moose.
Talk about that a bit. Well, wait. Let's finish with the bird. I have some questions. So you come up and you just shoot. Do you just shoot randomly, or you?
Oh no, you gotta aim.
You gotta aim.
Oh heck yeah, you have to aim. And
how good do you have to be? Like,
you have to be good. Yeah, no, you have to be good to get there. Yeah. So with the shotgun, you're shooting shots. Shot's gonna come out and it starts spreading.
is it buckshot?
No, not buckshot. Buckshot's a little too big. It's I use what's called double B.
Double B.
Yeah. So your shot size it goes up is so with birds we have to run steel. So we go up to a little bit of a bigger size to get the weight to it. When it comes out of the shotgun, it's gonna start spreading out.
Yeah. And then
But it doesn't spread out nearly as much as people seem to think.
see?
Yeah, well, you get those movies, and in a movie, someone shoots at something and they pepper an entire wall, and it's not like that. It's probably about less than an inch of spread per yard. So, my particular shotgun at about 60 yards, I've got about 30-inch spread.
30-inch, that's a lot, no?
Yeah, but at 60 yards.
Okay.
Right, out at 60 yards, it's about a 30-inch spread, maybe just a little bit tighter than that. And you gotta remember that bird's going fast and it's moving. You gotta have the right lead, and if you're off, you're gonna miss the bird. So,
do you shoot in front of it, waiting for it to be catched?
Yeah, you have to lead the target. 'Cause the bird's moving, so if you aimed right at it, the bird's gonna have gone forward, and you're gonna miss the bird.
Oh wow, that's like mathematics, right?
Best analogy I can use is someone throwing a ball, right? It's first time you do it, you're gonna miss. I got a toddler, so watching her learn to throw a ball, first time she tried to throw a ball to me, it's lucky if it even went in the right direction. Compare that to a professional football player that could probably hit me at 50 yards on the run, right? The difference is practice. So
that is insane. It's very interesting. So when you shoot, right? You could totally miss everything.
Oh yeah, you could totally miss.
How fast do you have to be? That's my question. Like, do you have to be like? Can you like just like, or do you have to be even faster than that?
Oh, you can do it. Yeah.
It's like you come out, da, 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 da. It's like.
Yeah, if you did that, you're probably going to be missing. You need to do aim shots.
Aim shots.
Yeah.
So there's no, just shoot, hope for the best, right?
Yeah, you're not going to get anything if you do that. So. Yeah. No, you have to take your time and aim. It is quick though. It's
quick.
Yeah, and birds are coming in, your adrenaline's going. It goes a lot quicker than it feels like. So it feels like you're taking forever to take that aimed shot, and it's next thing you know, you're out of ammo.
Has there been incidences that you went home empty-handed?
Oh yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Well, around here, it's not the best hunting. We like going over to the prairies, but it's an expensive trip, so we don't do it very often. So a good day here is a bad day over there when it comes to the amount of birds coming in. So,
Wow. Why?
yeah.
Is it because it's
Just the amount of birds coming in.
what's your favorite bird?
We go after Canadian geese.
Canadian geese.
Yeah, around here, quite often if I'm out hunting big game, I'll also have a 22 or something with me, and I'll go after grouse.
Yeah.
But that's a very different hunt than going after the geese.
What's the difference?
Well, the geese, like I said, you got set up in the blinds,
Yeah.
you're calling them in. Grouse, you're just going for a walk in the bush, or you're driving and then you spot a grouse, you get out and
You shoot it.
you shoot it. Yeah,
Oh, so much
So-
easier, right? I mean, it seems do you miss also on that
a
too?
lot less prep or work to go into it ahead of time. But yeah, no, they can. Grouse aren't the smartest of birds. So they'll wise up during hunting season, but yeah, at the start they're not the smartest of birds.
Tell
So
me why? I mean, they just look at you. We don't.
some will just sit there and look at you, and I mean that's one of the first animals I learned to go after as a kid when I was hunting was grouse. And I can't remember what type of grouse it was, but yeah, my dad gave me a 22, and there's a grouse sitting on a branch, and yeah, it probably took me about 5 shots before I managed to get it, and it just sat there the whole time. So,
Well, he sat there while you were shooting at it.
yeah,
He thought he was the Neo from the Matrix, right? It's like,
yeah. So it's. But I mean, having said that, later in the season when they've been getting hunted a bit, vehicle stops and they're gone. So
oh, I see.
yeah, start of the season it's definitely easier.
That's crazy. So so you hunt some moose too? What is it? Let's talk about moose hunting. What is the difference between that?
Well, I mean, you gotta go out to where they are. I like hunting the marshes if I can. Having said that, I have gotten them in clear cuts and stuff like that.
What's the difference?
Well, moose, you go out to where they're going to be, and then you start calling, and you try and call it in.
You have to call the moose too? I never hunted. I don't know. So you have to call the moose also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can wander around the bush and hope to wander into one, but yeah, definitely. The last one I got, I actually just wandered into it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was planning on going down a logging road, and there was a marsh right beside it, and I said, "Oh, I'll poke my head in there before I go," and there's a moose. So
That's crazy.
yeah.
So when you do the calling, how does it work? Like, what is the sound? Is it a female sound, male sound? Like, what is it?
I do a female, and
Yeah.
hopefully the bulls will come into you.
Which one is better? Do they? Is it better to make the female sound or make other sounds?
Yeah, well, I try to do the female. I'm nowhere near as good as my dad when it comes to that stuff. So
That's crazy. So talk about hunting it a little bit about with the moose and things like that. So what are some of the things you take? They're big animals. I mean,
Yep.
if you piss them off, can they come and just take you out or?
they could. I've never had that issue, but I mean, you go on YouTube and see all the sorts of videos where a guy gets trampled by a moose, but and I've never had that.
No.
Not even close. No. I've been pretty close to them. I've also seen them at a long distance, and that's definitely where you want to start calling and try and get them in close to you.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have to hide and things like that to hit him or like what is the
Not,
process?
not really. Like the last moose I got, like I said, it was in a marsh. So
Yeah.
walked in, spotted it. I can't remember how far it was, but it was a long ways off. So I started calling, trying to get it to come in. And that one, I didn't realize there was actually a cow right behind it, cow moose.
Yeah.
So he wasn't coming in, and then all of a sudden he moved a little bit, and I see the cow. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's why you're not coming to me. So kind of changed tactic on that one, and so I started grunting like a bull and held my rifle over my head, pretending it was 7 antlers. They don't have the best sight, so.
Yeah. Are they're that like I don't want to name, but they're that like this? I mean,
Pardon?
they're not very smart, are they?
Oh, it's not that they're not smart. Their eyesight isn't
They
they don't see color the same way we do, and so.
So they could actually think that the human could be a moose.
Well, yeah. So I got that rifle over my head, pretending it's a pair of antlers, and grunting at, and I was actually able to walk up to it fairly, nowhere near as close as I would have liked, but got a lot closer than I was. So, yeah.
Oh, this is crazy. I didn't know that. I'm learning so much. What is your favorite type of moose? Is it different kinds or like
Well, I mostly just hunt locally when it comes to the moose, and I go after bull moose. So,
bull moose?
yeah.
So is there a difference between the female and the male? Do
Well,
you-
one's a girl, one's a boy.
no, the quality of the meat.
Oh, I haven't eaten enough cow moose to be able to tell you that. It's pretty much just been bull moose that I've
Okay.
eaten.
I have no idea, right? So
Yeah.
forgot. I was going to ask you. It's so interesting, right? There's like these areas I have nothing, no idea, no experience, right? And I know the people here, they're gonna watch it, they're gonna laugh, right? But there's a lot of city people, they're gonna watch it, they're gonna say, what the hell?
Oh,
They
no
get
worries.
their eyes will be stuck to the TV. They you know. So when you shoot it, okay, how long do you have time? Like, how long do you have time to process the meat? Like, what happens right when you shoot it? Talk about that a little bit, because
Yeah, so you shoot it, it goes down. What I do is I slit the throat, start bleeding it out, slit the belly, start gutting it right away. So get the guts out right away. And then with moose, they're so big, I usually at that point call for help to get it out. There's no way I'm moving a bull moose by myself. But yeah, it's you definitely want to move quickly. It's kind of a joke, but it's pretty serious. As soon as you pull the trigger, the fun ends and the work begins. So
why do you have to be so fast?
well, especially with the guts. If it's as it starts to decompose, it's going to sour the meat. Okay, so
Well, I don't know. Talk about the sour the meat. Like,
well, it's you want to get the guts out and you want to get the meat cooled off fairly quickly. It's just gonna. It's not that it wouldn't be edible, but it's not going to be good.
So what does the guts do that it makes the meat sour?
Well, it's going to be a mix of the blood and the guts and all that kind of stuff. And again, I'm not a biologist. My dad can go way more into detail than I ever could on that stuff. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to explain it that well, but
How long do you have to do this?
it depends on the temperature. If it's colder, you have more time. If it's hot, you got to move fast.
If it's hot, how long do you have?
It could be just a couple hours if it's really hot. Having said that, I don't normally hunt in the summer. It's
Okay, so
the
in the
fall.
cold, how long do you have in the cold?
Oh, we got it right away, but then once it's gutted, it's not as big of a rush. You definitely want to get it out that day if you can. So.
Do some people take it and then gut it, or do you just do it? Which one is the easiest?
Oh,
way?
it's so big, you're gonna gut it where it is. Unless you can get to it with something, some sort of heavy equipment to lift it up, you're gutting it where it
How
is.
heavy is this thing? Like, I'm just trying to. 500 pounds? Or?
Yeah, 500-600 pounds for the quarters.
Yeah.
So they can get bigger than that, but yeah, you're probably looking about mid 5 to mid 600. That would be a big bull. So.
And then how long do you have to process the meat?
Well, we take it to a cutter. We take it to a meat cutter.
Okay, so how long do they take?
Well, once it goes to the meat cutter, they're going to hang it up in a cold room or a refrigerator, and then once it's in that controlled environment, they can let it hang for quite a long time before they start cutting it.
Okay, good. I thought maybe you have to do it so fast, right? Because it's a different.
Yeah, you gotta get the guts out fast. That's the blood and the guts. That's the key.
What are some fun memory with your dad hunting?
I don't even, like I said, I don't even know where to begin. That's basically my whole childhood was just going out in the bush with him.
Talk about some of it, because a lot of people, they don't have this experience with their parents, right? So.
Yeah, actually one of my favorite ones was actually out on his trap line, going after spring beavers. So we'd be out in the boat setting traps, and then wherever we did spot a beaver, you'd kill the motor and start paddling, and I'd be up on the front with my rifle and shooting the beaver if I could get it. So that was a lot of fun. Like for me, hunting wasn't always so much about fun. It was a way of putting food on the table. It was something that you did. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it. It's great. I love being out in the bush, but it's not just the hunt. It's just being out in the bush is the good part for me. So. Yeah, no, I mean, he taught me how to shoot. He taught me how to hunt, most of that stuff. So it's.
Talk about some of those experiences. So first time he taught you how to shoot, like what was it like?
I don't even know what the rifle was. One of my very first memories was actually sitting on my dad's lap, and he had a rifle set up on a bench, and I got behind it and pulled the trigger, and it was probably something really small, but being that little, it pushed me back quite a bit. So, it's so. I remember him teaching me to shoot with a single shot 22, and I can't remember if it was Christmas or my birthday, but I got a shotgun when I was 10 years old, a little 20 gauge.
You got a shotgun when you were 20 years old?
10 years old, yeah, a little 20 gauge.
10 years old.
10 years old, yeah, I got a 20 gauge.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was funny because that thing kicked like heck. The recoil on that thing was brutal. that particular shotgun he bought from a family friend that ran a gun store. Ziggy ran Northland Sports. So being for a kid, he got the stock cut down. And I guess he shot it and said, oh, this thing kicks pretty hard. So he asked him to put a recoil pad on it. So he cut it down even more, took a ton of the weight out, put a recoil pad on that felt like a hockey puck. So yeah, that thing that thing definitely had a bit of snap to it, even though it was just a little 20 gauge.
What did you shoot with it?
Gross.
You shoot with gross when you were at the
Yeah.
age. Okay. What are some interesting long story when you were hunting with your dad? Did you go on like a kind of a long journey looking for stuff?
Well, I mean, we've been all over his trap line, all over out in this area hunting stuff. I got my first moose at 11. That was out on his trap line. So I think it was the second day we'd gone out. I can't quite remember exactly which day it was, but I know we'd gone out a couple of times. And then, yeah, we were going out. He was calling, and we weren't really seeing anything, so we're crossing the beaver dam. About halfway across the beaver dam, all of a sudden he stops and, you know what, there's a moose over there. And so, okay, middle of beaver dam. And the moose was just over 200 yards away, facing right at us. Ideally, you want to do a broadside shot just behind the shoulder.
Why?
The heart.
Okay.
Okay, right into the heart. And if you're out a little bit, lungs, it's a big kill zone. But the moose was right at us and it was feeding, so it has its head down in the grass, so I couldn't see it all that well. So all I had to, the only way I could actually figure out where I was aiming is I could see where the antlers came down. It's okay, well, right below where they intersected, that's the head. So yeah, line up on that. The only thing I got to lean the rifle on was a little willow about the size of my pinky. So yeah, he likes to give me a rough time because I was out about a half inch. So,
Did it run away?
no.
You got it.
Yeah, got the moose. Yeah.
Which were you? And then how long did you process it right away there? Or?
Yeah, we 200 yards. Of course, we're in the middle of a beaver dam, so it took a little bit to get over to it. Got bled, got guide. It was actually the biggest moose I've ever seen. Was that one? Not the antlers, but the moose itself. So the four quarters were just over 800 pounds.
800 pounds.
Yeah, like I said, it was the biggest moose I've ever seen. Not the antlers, but the moose itself was one of the biggest I've ever seen. So, yeah, we got bled, gutted. I can't remember how he got a hold of one of his friends because his friend came out. So we had actually come in the other way with two quads, and it took the entire day just to get it back out. It's in marsh. I mean, you'd be walking along and all of a sudden you're sinking up to your knees and stuff. Yeah. Getting it out was not fun.
Well, it's crazy. People think it's just fun and games. You know, they think you shoot it, you just load it, you're done, right?
Oh, I've had animals like that. Those are the easy ones.
Yeah.
Another family friend up in Dawson Creek. We had permission to go hunting up there. Their season was a little bit different than ours. It was any bull moose. And so we knew roughly where they were going to be. It was actually right on the edge of a canola field. And yeah, so before we went out there, he tells us, okay, if you drop it right on the trail, we can get to it with the tractor. If it gets into the canola at all, we can't take vehicles into the canola, so you got to pack it out on your back.
Oh, pack it on your back.
Yeah, so you got to cut it up and then walk it out. And so my dad got me set up in one spot. He went off somewhere else. I can't remember exactly where he went. And it's starting to get a little dark, and I figured, okay, the moose will have already been out. So I start hiking along the trail, and all of a sudden, here comes the moose right out in front of me. So, yeah, I shot it, and knowing what our friend had said, I mean, I was still pretty young at the time. I shot, and then I just emptied my mag after that. And it's, yeah, I was not letting that moose move off the trail at all. So, and here I am by myself. I start trying to guide as best I can, get as far as I can by myself, and then I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and my dad still isn't there. Finally, he comes wandering along, and what are you doing? And I'm sitting on the moose. He's like, what are you doing? Where are you at the truck? It's like, I got a moose. He's, what? I was like, yeah, I'm sitting on the moose. And yeah, I can't remember exactly what he said, but something about, oh, I heard some shots, but I didn't think it was you, because it was more than one.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so I mean, that one, our friend comes along with the tractor, hooks it up, picks it right up, over to his place, got it at his place. Well, finished getting it at his place, and yeah, straight into the back of the truck, and we came home. That's by far one of the easiest hunts I've ever had.
Well, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So what are some more experiences with your dad? That anything ever went wrong? Like maybe animal run away or the bear was chasing the.
I've never had anything like that when I was out with my dad. I've had issues with. I've never had anything where it's shot it and ran away. I've always been very fortunate that way. I'm a big believer in if you can't take a clean shot, don't take the shot.
Yeah.
Don't push it.
Why?
Ethics. I mean, I don't want to see an injured animal running around. It's if you can't get a good shot, then I have let animals pass because I couldn't get a clean shot. So it's unfortunately there are people that won't make that particular call.
Well, they don't think about the suffering and things like that, right? I mean, it's an animal still, right?
Yeah. So I look at it a little differently than some people do. I hope most people look at it the same way I do, but yeah.
That's amazing to know because not a lot of people think like that, right? So.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I've never had an issue like that. I have had an issue with a bear in the past. So.
Let's talk about that.
Well, that one, I think I was probably early 20s when that one happened. I was out hunting with one of the guys from the fire hall out behind my parents' place. We were out after deer, pretty early season, and it was an area that had been clear cut a couple of years before, so big open area. So I'm packing my target rifle.
What is a target rifle?
Well, I like to target shoot. So
okay. Oh, if you're gonna talk about that, I forgot about that.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no, I love target shooting. So I had a rifle that was meant more for long range shooting. It was a 308, so it's not a giant cartridge, but big heavy bull barrel on it, so a real thick barrel, very accurate rifle, one of the more accurate rifles I've had. So I was carrying that, and my buddy and I would split up. We went down different roads, and about halfway up this hill, great big tree, out walks a bear about 25 yards right in front of me, doesn't know I'm there, it's walking across the hill, and looking back at it, I should have just kept my mouth shut and just let it walk away, but I just went, hey bear. And so bear turns, sees me, comes straight at me. And
He's still running towards you?
Yeah, it charged me.
How big was it?
Oh, it was just a little guy.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it was, and by that I mean, I shouldn't say it was little, it was a young black bear, is what it was. And so yeah, I had the rifle in my hands and just up and boom. It was, yeah, it was, it was interesting.
Because if you missed, right,
Yeah. So like I said, it was my target rifle, so great big giant scope on it. I'd been target shooting the day before and made a big mistake. So I had a variable magnification on that scope and I left it at the max setting. Didn't even really think about it when I was going out the next day hunting. Now I always put my scopes at minimum power every time I go hunting after that. Because bear comes straight at me, I bring the rifle up and all I can see is black.
Oh my God.
So.
How did you manage at that time when you?
Well, that's kind of the reason I was fortunate it was that rifle because I practiced with it so much. I set my rifles up myself. So when I bring the rifle up, I'm I'm aiming at exactly what I was aiming or looking at. So yeah, like I carry it with an empty chamber. So as I brought up, cycled around in, up, all I see is black, pulled the trigger, and yeah, I got right in the head. So, and yeah, very, very fortunate. Looking back at it, there's some people that might tell me, oh, it was a bluff charge or whatever. You got a black bear coming right at you starting at 25 yards. I honestly, I would love to see the person that could tell you that on that split second. And yeah. So
the black bears have no mercy, right? Because once the temper is up, right? Even if he's not bluff, most of the time he's not.
Well, so on that one, that was actually my fault. The way I see it, I mean, it charged me. It was a young bear, so probably didn't have a lot of experience around people, didn't know how to react. Personally, I think that was all my fault. What I didn't realize is there was actually a berry patch that the bear was walking away from. So it was walking away from food. I startled it. So. Yeah.
So you talk about you do competition, right?
I used to.
Okay, talk about that. How you got into it?
Just started going target shooting, and I can't remember how it even came up because I started talking to some of the guys in the Black Powder Club, and because I was going to get into black powder,
What is black powder?
muzzle loaders.
Okay.
So your old flintlocks and what people think of as the old antique guns.
Yeah.
So I actually went out and did a trail shoot with one of those guys, or well, sorry, with a group of those guys. And a couple of my buddies were big into handguns. I remember one of the black powder guys going, "Oh yeah, we always lose guys to the handguns." Sure enough.
Why?
It's fun.
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the black powder is fun too, but the handguns, it's very fast paced.
And it has a good recoil, right? Is that why? Or?
Well, it depends. Oh, it's a different style competition. So the trail shoot, we'd be walking a trail, and every now and then there'd be a target. So you stop, and everyone takes a turn, and it's a one shot at the target, and either you hit it or you miss, and you keep score similar to golf. Whereas with the handguns, I have a few buddies that had been competing in handguns. So that's how I got started into that. The handguns still have a set of targets out. There's a timer, range officer right behind you. Timer goes, out comes the gun. You shoot the targets as fast as you can. It's one of the ones where you actually have to move and shoot. And yeah, so it's a combination of speed and accuracy and controlling the recoil.
How long does it take to get there? Because I don't think it's something you can. How long does it take to pick it up? What kind of practices do you have to do to get there? How much is it going to cost? Because it seems you have to use a lot of bullets and things like that.
Yeah, so I mean, to get into it, you can get into it very quickly. To get good at it is very different than getting into it. So yeah, once you have all your license and stuff, you get your gun. Pardon me. So I was shooting IPSC, so they have a course called the Black Badge. You have to take that course, and that's just to qualify you to compete in that competition.
How long is the course?
That one was a weekend. It was, they give you a book, you have to study the book, you do a little written test on the Friday night, and then it's basically just on the rules of IPSC.
What is it? Talk about it a little bit. I don't know anything about it.
Just all the different competition rules. So how the scoring works, how the timing works, what you can and can't do.
You want to talk about it a little bit? Like what are some of the rules?
Well,
how does the timing work? Let's just say from that.
So basically, they'll have what they call stages. So they'll have a series of different areas where they've set up targets. You'll have a starting point. Like I said, range officer behind you with a timer. It'll be something along the lines of shooter ready, stand by, buzzer goes, beep, and then you proceed with the course of fire. So there'll be determined routes you can walk or run. There'll be different targets up, shooters, no shooters, stuff like that. So that's what a lot of the rules are covering is, so you don't shoot the white targets. The white targets, you shoot one of those, it's minus points. You want to shoot the regular cardboard targets, stuff like that. So
what is the white targets?
Oh, it's just the color. So the white targets were the no shoots, and the brown cardboard were the ones that you would shoot. So yeah, like I said, the rules is all in how they score it, because you got different scoring zones, so you want to be in the center. So you had the A, the C, and A, B, C, Ds for scoring, but in Canada, they changed the target so you don't actually have a B zone.
How come?
Well, the targets, the proper ones actually are a human silhouette. So they take the head off them in Canada. So it looks more like you're shooting a stop sign. Yeah.
Why do they do that? I mean, it's just like
political correctness. I don't know. It's just that was sense. Way before I ever got into it that they started doing that. So, yeah, and there'll be other styles of targets as well. They'll have some metal targets. So you got to knock those ones over, stuff like that. But
what is the difference between the targets? So there's, as you said, metal targets, right?
Yeah, so most of the targets we're shooting are cardboard, but every now and then they'll have steel targets.
What are they? Like, what's the difference when it comes to I guess you have to have a different type of bullet, or does it matter?
Oh, you're shooting the same ammo for both.
For both?
Yeah. So the steel targets, it's a very special steel that they use. So it's very hard, it won't deform when you shoot it. When guys talk about getting ricochets off of steel targets, it's not the first shot, it's the following ones, because you've put a divot into it. So
what is a div?
A divot, just a dent.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're using mild steel targets, you're gambling on that one, because eventually you're going to get ricochets coming back at you, because every time you shoot it, you get little divots in it. And if you catch one of those with the bullet, you're going to risk a ricochet. The steel we're using is very hard. It won't deform. Bullet hits it, bullet basically disintegrates or splatters. Because it splatters, you have to be a minimum distance back. It's about 10 yards with a handgun.
Talk about the ricochet. Has anybody been Has there been some incidences? And
Oh yeah.
let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so ricochets is when you shoot something and the bullet comes back or goes off in a different direction.
The whole bullet comes back or pieces of it?
Either or,
Wow. The
Okay.
whole thing can come back.
depending on what it is.
It's like,
So
honey, I'm back.
yeah, it's well, I mean, growing up, there's one spot near where I grew up where we'd go out target shooting. It was a shale pit. Okay, so bullets go into the shale and the shale would just disintegrate and absorb the bullet. Before you get there, there's a rock quarry. And I don't know how many times I've driven past that, and then you can see casings from where people have been shooting there. And it's a rock quarry, so lots of hard, flat surfaces. I am amazed that no one's ever been seriously injured from a ricochet there. Just floored by it. So.
What are some of the incidents that you heard about from ricochet?
Well, you got a bullet coming back at you. It could be, I mean, I've been hit by a ricochet. That one was very minor. So I was actually at the range shooting a practice drill, and we're shooting what was called a dueling tree. So what that is a piece of steel goes up, and you've got steel targets that'll swing from side to side. So two guys stand beside each other, and I'm trying to put all the targets onto his side. He's trying to put them all back on my side.
Oh, what do you mean? So you knock him out and he brings them
Well,
up?
it swings from side to side, the targets, right? So you start out and it alternates. One target's his side, one's mine side, one's his side, one's my side, right? So again, you got someone with a timer. So buzzer goes, you draw, and you start shooting. And I'm trying to put all the targets over onto his side, and he's trying to shoot them all and put them over onto my side. And the fellow that was right beside me, he missed the target, hit the steel stand, and I had a bullet come back, smoke me right in the armpit.
Or did it go through or?
No.
It just hit?
Just hit. So it spent most of the energy when it hit the steel, but yeah, no. I had a nice big welt, couldn't put my arm below 45 for about 2 weeks.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, it hurt. Yeah, it hurt.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, so one of the reasons why they always stress safety glasses. So, yeah.
Talk about safety glasses now, since you brought it up, because I think it's one of the most important part of the...
Yeah, I mean...
There's so many... Okay, so when you say safety glasses, are we talking the ones at the dollar store? Are we talking about the Home Depot one? Are we talking about the Amazon one? What should be people looking for?
So, as far as the course goes, they just say shooting glasses. I would take that a step further and actually say proper rated safety glasses. Shooting glasses don't have the side shields on them. That's the difference. So they're good for anything coming straight at you, but anything coming in from the side, they won't do anything for you. Proper CSA approved safety glasses, they've got the side shields. You're covered from stuff coming in sideways as well. And they are rated for impacts.
What are the ratings, you think?
I don't know the exact numbers.
What's a good rating? What should you be looking
Well, so the CSA, it sets a minimum standard that they have to meet for to get that rating. They test it with basically a overpowered pellet gun, is my understanding. Yeah, so like I said, I don't know the speed that they shoot it at, but it has to take that hit and stop it. So.
Can you blow your eardrums?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so what are some of the...
Yeah, so hearing protection is a must with firearms. Those guns are loud. A lot of people talk about 22s, they're a little tiny rimfire. Even those will cause hearing damage if you're not wearing hearing protection. So yeah, I like the big muffs. If I'm going to the range, I'll actually double up on my hearing protection. I'll wear earplugs and muffs over top of that. And I'm a big fan of the electronic ones. So.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I don't know if I have one. So basically they cancel the noise, right? They increase the, I don't know what they do.
So the ones I have, they've got a set of microphones on them. So it picks up ambient noise, plays it through a speaker inside the muff. And they'll have a noise level rating, decibel rating. When the noise gets above that, they turn off, noise drops back down, they kick back in again. So you can be standing at the range while people are shooting, having a conversation. It just sounds like someone's clapping their hands in the background. So.
If the battery doesn't work, but they still protect, right? Or
oh yeah, because the speaker just turns off and you got a regular pair of earmuffs.
Imagine if they reverse it. The eyes come out.
Yeah.
I've seen some online. I think these companies. So what they do, it's like a clay. You put it in your ears and it shapes up. So what are those ones?
Molded earplugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a set of molded earplugs. I wear them at work.
So what is the difference? Should you? I think both is good. You have both of them, so you know because of your ears. Once
molded earplugs. They're just fancy earplugs.
It's not
so
that
you can
use
you can use the disposals. You can use the molded ones. if you're going to wear hearing protection a lot, the
Yeah.
molded ones feel nicer.
better.
They're fitted. They're nicer. But at the end of the day, they're just earplugs.
So it doesn't then do anything special, right? It's not they make it like look like you put in your ears and that's it. Like it's gonna be perfect, right? So it's almost as good as the reusable ones, or
Well, yeah, it's the molded earplugs. So you can get really fancy with them. The ones I have for work, they're vented. So it's supposed to help me be able to hear someone talking to me in a loud environment, all sorts of stuff like that. But it's all it is when they say vented is there's just a little tiny hole that goes through the earplug. So yeah, they're just earplugs. So like I said though, when I'm going to the range, I try and double up on my hearing protection. So I'll wear earplugs plus the muffs over top.
They make it look when they talk about. I've seen there's a lot of advertisement that comes up. They make it like just the best thing ever. But now you tell them it's almost like the regular ones.
Well, you can. So I like the electronic earmuffs. You can get earplugs that are electronic as well. They do the same thing as the ear muff. It's just now it's an earplug instead of the muff. So.
So you have to pay an arm and a leg for it, right?
Well, the electronic ones, they aren't cheap. If you're going out to buy one, you're looking minimum $100 before any kind of sales go on. I would wait until they go on sale. The muffs always go on sale eventually. So I just wait until they go on sale.
Oh God! What is your favorite? So okay. So where have you been? Where have you gone for competition?
Mostly local.
Okay.
I was very fortunate when I got into IPSC. The provincials weren't there. Provincials were going to be down in Vancouver that year. I didn't go to the even though I qualified, I didn't go to the provincials. It was just too expensive. But
How much do they charge you to go for competition?
oh, well, I wasn't sponsored.
Wait a minute. So you have to. You can also get a sponsor. So I don't know
Well,
if
it's the sport. So I mean, if you're good enough, you can get sponsored. It's not the same in Canada as it is down in the States.
yeah, States are crazy about this stuff, right? So
Oh,
they,
yeah.
they love it, man.
Yeah, there's guys where that's their career.
Yeah. But you can make a career out of it.
If you're good enough and you're down in the States, yeah.
How much can you make a year?
Oh, I don't know. But you
You know,
talk. Yeah, you hear about some of the reps. I mean, they go into the factory where they're making the guns and they'll pick the parts they want off the assembly line.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like that's crazy. Like
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking crazy good. It's
good money and.
well, I mean, just skill level. We're talking guys that hold world records at that point. So.
Yeah. Okay. That's what it takes to make it, right? So,
Well,
and for Canada, it's sad, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, getting sponsored here would have meant someone was paying for some of my ammo, or stuff like that. They would have helped with the cost, but
That's it. Nothing like
nothing like that.
It's
No.
like he's a champion. Yes, he's a sponsor of a company, right? Nothing like that here.
Well, I mean, if you're good enough, I mean, yeah, you get guys that okay, well, here's this particular gun, shoot our gun, right? So they're giving you the gun to shoot, right?
And if the guns suck, you have no choice, right? I mean, because some guns, I don't think they're good enough to shoot, right? I mean, probably there is some that are better than others.
Some are better than others. It's I mean, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
So and then there's some where there's a lot of brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite brand?
Depends on what type of firearm. So
Handgun.
handgun. I got an STI. I love my STI.
STI. Why? Why do you like STI so much?
Well, mine was actually a custom built by a
Oh,
local
look,
gun.
you were talking about the other guy. Now look at you. And you
No, so one of the local gunsmiths, he's retired now, but my 1911 STI, it was custom built by him. So
look at that smile. What is so special about it? How did he?
he went through it and just fine tooth comb,
Yeah.
tightened up all the tolerances, cleaned it up, did trigger job on it, so it's got a very nice trigger pull on it.
What is a trigger job? Let's talk about that a little bit.
So basically, when we talk about cleaning up the trigger, he went in, polished all the surfaces so it's very smooth.
Yeah.
There's no rough spots, no grit. Very lightweight trigger, so you're not pulling against a whole ton of weight. So yeah,
Wow. So that's your favorite?
that's my favorite handgun.
Handgun.
Yeah, is that STI 45.
What is the second? Is there a second favorite or no? Let's say if you don't have that one today.
I've got a Glock that I did a lot of work on myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be my second go-to is my Glock.
What kind? Glock?
It's a Glock 17.
Glock 17.
Yeah, so it's 9mm. Yeah, it started out just a factory Glock Gen 3, and then I've swapped out a bunch of the parts. It's got custom barrel in it, aftermarket trigger. I did
They're
I
like
cleaned
a s-
up the trigger a bit, and I'm nowhere near as good as that particular gunsmith was. But yeah, no, it's got custom trigger. I customized the grip on it. I've done a ton of work to it. So I mean, it's also a very nice gun. Doesn't feel like a factory Glock. So
So what is your favorite for rifles and things like that? What's your favorite brand? I'm gonna ask for a shotgun too after this.
yeah, there's so many different styles of rifles. So
Okay, let's do one for hunting, and then let's do one for long range target practice
Okay.
competition.
Okay. My favorite hunting rifle is actually my Marlin lever action in 4570.
Why?
It's a very nice gun. That cartridge, I like it for hunting because it's a big bullet moving slow. So it's big, it's heavy, it hits hard, but it's moving slow, so it doesn't do a ton of meat damage. When the bullet hits the animal, if it's going super fast, you actually get kind of like a shock effect going through the meat. So you get a whole ton of wasted meat that way. So 4570, big heavy bullet, it hits really hard, penetrates really well, but doesn't do a lot of meat damage. So, and I've got a Marlin 4570, or a Marlin lever action. It's it's one of the guide guns, and I've done a little bit of work to it. But
So, what about the shotgun? What is your favorite shotgun? There's so many different brands, right?
yeah, I'm shooting a Winchester SX2 just because.
You're so famous, right?
Well, I got it on sale.
Oh, I got off.
Yeah, actually, the same guy that did up my handgun for me, he used to buy and sell firearms in general. Went into the store one day, he had a couple of shotguns there. I was looking for a shotgun for goose hunting, and he had the Winchester SX2 there. I was looking for a semi-auto 3.5 inch, and that's what he had. And at the time, I wanted a Benelli.
Why a Benelli?
Oh, they're a very good brand. So yeah, I was looking at the Benellis, and they're about $2,000, and here's this Winchester SX2 for about $600. So it was used. So bought it, took it home, and quite often when you get a new semi-automatic, they'll have what they call a break-in period. So you need to run high-strength shells through it, about 50 rounds, just to get the action broken in.
Non-stop or?
No, it doesn't have to be non-stop, but you just want to run 50 full-strength, high-powered rounds.
Same day?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah, but so you do that and just gets the parts moving and worn in. They make what's called lower recoil rounds, so they won't have near the amount of energy, a lot less recoil. But until you get that break-in period done, they won't cycle the gun properly. So got the gun, went home. Okay, it's a used gun, should already be broken in. Grabbed a couple lighter loads, and this thing wasn't cycling. So threw in the heavy stuff. Did 50 rounds, and then threw in some light stuff and cycling just fine. So the guy that had it before me barely put any rounds.
Use it.
Yeah.
Lucky you. Look at that.
Yeah, I suspect because it was the 3.5, probably put around a 3.5 inch shot and didn't like it would be my guess. So,
Oh, wow. What do you think about Japanese brands? There's like some Japanese brands also. How good are because you hear about Japanese samurai, Japanese swords, things like that, right? Japanese.
I honestly don't know of any rifles
That are
that
Japanese.
they're making. Bushnell, I believe, was bought out by a Japanese company quite a while back, and they were making some really good scopes. But there's no there are Japanese rifles out there, but nothing that I'm familiar with.
Okay. So you talk about scopes. Why is it important to have a good scope? Because you know what, there's like some of the guns you actually buy, they comes with free scope, right? And people are like, oh my God, it's such a good deal, Joe. I'm just I'm gonna shoot it. The bullet is gonna it's gonna have a target.
Garbage.
Talk about that a little bit because I don't even know about that, right? So
yeah, so
because it's such a good deal, you're like, oh my God, look at it, and they make it all colorful. You're like, oh my God.
You want to spend more money on the scope than you do on the rifle.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, I know some people don't.
Let's say how much is a rifle? Let's say what's a good price of a rifle?
There's so many options out there. Depends on what style.
Long
long
for
range.
Hunting and stuff.
Okay,
like that, right?
Hunting and long range are two separate things. Price tag.
Let's do hunting. Let's do hunting.
Just any basic bolt action. Well, any action you like. Okay.
Is it 500, 600?
You can get cheaper ones that are around the $500 to $1,000. And then you can get up into $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 quite easily.
It's like a computer. right?
Yeah.
Graphic cards, CPU, GPU, all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
what I would say is anyone that's trying to set up a firearm for hunting, figure out what your total budget is, and spend more money on the optic than you do on the rifle.
In terms of rifle for hunting, there is like longer. What is it called? I forgot. The tip. I forgot the name. The muzzle. Longer muzzle and there's shorter
Barrel
muzzle.
lengths, yeah.
Right? Does it make a huge difference? Or?
No. So I mean, everything being the same, the longer the barrel, the more time it has to burn the powder, you'll get a slightly higher velocity out of the bullet. Okay, but your average hunting rifle, it's not going to make a difference. A couple of inches isn't going to make a big difference.
So that would go for long ranges, basically. If you want to do longer stuff, then the muzzle matter. But if you're just
Even
hunting
then,
from here,
yeah, even then it doesn't. So I mean, it's a stiffer barrel is going to be more accurate. So as you put in length, you create more flex in that barrel. The amount is so negligible, though. That it's not going to make a big difference.
so the shorter barrel is better, I guess, by the terms of bends and things like that.
Yeah,
right?
but again, the quality is going to have a much bigger impact than the barrel length or the thickness of the barrel. I mean, if everything being the same, a short, thick barrel will be more accurate. A longer barrel, you'll get a slightly higher velocity out of the bullet.
Slightly, but 10%, 5%, what are you talking about?
Maybe, depending on a few inches, you might get 100, 200 feet per second more out of that bullet, but it's
Not much.
not going to be a big difference, no. So I wouldn't be too worried about barrel length personally.
Okay, so let's say you buy your $700 rifle for hunting.
Yeah.
How much you have to? How much you have to pay for the scope now, right?
A couple of years ago, I would have said hunting scope, you're probably starting at $600.
Yeah.
Now I'd say you're probably closer to $1,000.
Even more? I was hoping you say,
Prices have been going up on everything.
Because our economy is so great now. No, we got something upcoming on April 1st. It's even going to be more exciting. I'm so excited. I was dreaming about paying more for gas.
Yeah.
So it's going to go up more, right? So
Well,
it's
everything's going up
after
in
April.
price.
After April, it's going to be probably, if it's $1,000, we have to go $1,200, right?
Yeah. So
Man, that's crazy. $1,200, $1,000 for a scope. Why is it so important to have a good scope? And not that one that, they shine it in your face and all that.
yeah. So a cheap rifle is going to be more accurate than people think. You take a cheap rifle, you put good optics on it, you're going to get every bit of accuracy that rifle's capable of.
Yeah.
If you do the reverse, you take a very high-end rifle and you put cheap optics on it, you're not going to get the accuracy that rifle's capable of. So.
Okay, so there's so many things. There's lasers. Does anybody use lasers? Does it do anything? And then there's those light. There's just these things. I don't know what the heck they call them, but they have lights on them, right? So I forgot the name.
Well, so
It's
could be a
like-
couple of different things when you're
It's
talking
almost
laser.
radioactive. The dot.
Oh, you're talking the sights.
Yeah, the sights.
Yeah, okay. I can't remember the name for it now. Night sights, they glow in the dark. It's I want to say it's tritium, but I might
I
be
think
saying
it's
that.
tritium.
I think.
I remember.
So yeah, I prefer a fiber optic.
Yeah. Why?
Tritium, I find it's a bigger dot you're looking at.
Okay.
Fiber optic, it's a smaller dot. Tritium is good for someone that's going to be shooting in the dark.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You don't want to be shooting the dark in the.
Why? I don't have any need to be shooting in the dark.
I don't think it's a comfortable feeling, right?
Well, that's just it. It's tritium that's supposed to make it so you can see the sights when it's dark.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be more military police type stuff. And I'm a big believer, if you can't see the target, you don't know what it is you're shooting.
Yeah.
So fiber optics, they take ambient light and they magnify it. So it's fiber optic is what it is. So it's a little fiber optic about yay long. And a very small little dot. You can get them in different colors. I prefer the green.
Yeah.
So, but no, I prefer a scope over open sights if I can.
What about lasers?
You can get lasers that'll attach to a firearm, but
Is it?
they're pointless in my opinion. If you're in the daylight, you can't see that dot. Yeah.
Well, that's so good because it's a lot of people they think it's because it's laser, you're gonna see the target, right? And then the animals have different colors of height, right? So that
I mean,
laser
most-
can disappear.
Most lasers you can get are going to be red, and put that on a brown object, you're not going to see it.
So, did you win any awards in the competitions?
No.
What is maintaining? Okay, so because when you're just going for practice, right?
Yeah.
And then when you're going for actually competition, what is the difference to upkeep
To upkeep your skills.
upkeep your skills and upkeep the gun also? Because
Well, the gun, the more you shoot, the faster you're gonna wear it out.
Okay.
So it's just doing your maintenance, and if you put enough rounds to it, eventually you're gonna wear out parts on the gun that are gonna have to get replaced.
Yeah.
But we're talking thousands of rounds before you're replacing parts.
When you say thousands, what 2,000, 3,000, or
It depends on the gun, depends on the parts.
Depends
There's
on-
so many variables
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. But I mean, when I was shooting competition, I was going through about 500 rounds a week.
500 rounds a week.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't have a life.
Well, listen, that's, well, I shouldn't say that. It's like playing a game, but real life, right? You're actually getting a real experience.
Well, it's a sport, right? If you want to advance it, you got to put in the time, you got to put in the effort and practice.
500 a week.
Oh yeah, so I was working construction at the time, so I'd get up, get ready for work, and then if I had 15, 20 minutes before I had to go to work, I'd go to the gun room, start reloading ammunition for however long I had. And I had a bucket I'd dump the rounds in as I loaded them. And end of the week, I'd have about 500 or more rounds, and that would go to the range with me, and I'd burn through that 500 rounds in that weekend. I'd get home from work, and so this is what a lot of people don't do, is you need to do dry fire. Dry fire is a very good practice.
What is a dry fire?
You take the gun with nothing in it and you're pulling the trigger. Okay, the gun goes click. That's called dry fire. When I first started competing, I got told for every live round of ammunition, I need to do 10 times that in dry fire.
So for one bullet, you do 10 dry fire.
Yeah.
What does it do? Because then you don't have to
You're
recoil.
building muscle memory,
Oh, wow.
right? You're building muscle memory. You're getting in that practice.
Yeah.
You're getting the trigger pull. You're getting that practice looking on the sights. I was shooting handgun, so I was practice drawing it from the holster, coming up on target, looking through the sights the whole time, trigger press, all that. So, yeah. So I'd get home from work, grab some dinner, go throw on a movie, throw on my shooting rig, and just start practicing. That's like I said, I didn't have a life, and
Well, it's fun, man.
Oh yeah, it was great fun.
Guns and powder. I love it.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah, so I did that for a little over a year, and then I met who ended up becoming my wife. And
How do you meet your wife? Do you meet your wife at the range? Don't tell me.
No, she didn't shoot. no, she does now. She'll shoot now, but no, when we first met, she didn't shoot. No, we actually had a mutual acquaintance. So I chatted with her online a little bit, and we went to Tim Hortons for our first date.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, very Canadian.
That's
yeah.
I was going to say, you said it.
Yeah, and both of us, neither one of us clued in. Our first date was actually on Valentine's Day, and neither of us even clued into that.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
That is crazy, man.
Yeah,
I
so-
haven't heard the story. Like, so okay, what happened then?
Well, we went to Tim Hortons, met. I can't remember what she was. I want to say she was drinking hot chocolate or something like that, and we hit it off. And there was actually a local lake fairly nearby, so we ended up hopping in my truck, driving over there, and we've got very different stories on how that went. 'Cause she hopped into my truck, and I mean,
The first date.
but I'm a hunter and I target shoot and stuff, so there's ammunition in the vehicle and all that. Oh yeah, the way she tells it, she jumps in the truck, she thinks she's gonna get murdered. So we went out to the lake, hung out there for a little bit, and it's February, so it's cold, and I didn't even think about it. I had the heat going, I turned the truck off. And we were out there long enough, we actually ended up killing the battery. So here it is, late at night, battery's dead on the truck, and so I'm thinking, okay, which of my friends are going to be awake? And I got one buddy, okay, he's got crazy hour, he's going to be awake, call him up, and that guy, every other week, different color hair, just crazy hair every other week. So he shows up, and I think he had two-tone hair going on. One side was green, one side was something else. He shows up with his girlfriend, jumped the truck. So wonderful first impression.
Talk about get more in detail.
So and then somehow I managed to convince her to go on a second date.
That's like man, I could make that into a little film documentary right there. Have you saw? Maybe I use it. I talk to you about that later. Okay, so that's crazy. How did you get the second date, man? I mean, she would be like.
Well, like I said, I mean, we hit it off.
What was her reactions when the car battery went off? Was it just that this guy did that purposely or something?
Oh no, she didn't think I did it on purpose. I mean, I go start and it's just like yeah, I'm not gonna say that on camera, but yeah, that was my reaction was oh.
So how did you convince her to do the second date? Whose idea was the second date?
Oh, I asked her.
What did you say? Tell me. Okay, no, let's just be here. Okay. When you were gonna ask her for a second date, were you like, this girl saw me with all these bullets?
Oh no, I wasn't thinking that at all.
What happened? Tell me your thought pattern.
Well, like I said, I mean, the reason the truck died is we'd been out there for so long. Like we hit it off. Yeah.
Okay. When you called her, how was it, when you were asking for a second date? How was it?
Oh, it's good, in my opinion. It was good. So, like I said, her version would probably be a little different.
I'd love to hear her version. She's like, I was sitting in the car.
Oh yeah.
So when you asked her for a second date, what happened?
I can't remember if I did online or if I called her or texted her or what it was.
Date?
I think it was Wasabi, actually, a local restaurant. So.
Oh, the Japanese place.
Yeah.
Right? Oh,
yeah.
Good. Oh.
So I think that was the second one. Was there.
Yeah.
So I asked her to go there for lunch.
And how long after you got married?
I think it was about 4 years. We got engaged,
Yeah.
and then we were engaged for just over a year, just because she had a certain date she wanted, and yeah, I couldn't do it right away. She said I needed time to plan the wedding and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
So you guys do a lot of activities together, I guess, right?
Well, prior to kids.
Yeah, well, kids, man. As soon as kids are involved, good luck, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Now we get home from work and we just chase kids all day. Try and get caught up in laundry and dishes.
Diapers, don't forget about diapers.
Yeah, our oldest is out of those, thankfully. Yeah.
Kids put a lot of strain on the relationship sometimes, right? So it makes things more exciting.
Yeah.
So you're a volunteer firefighter also.
Yep.
Talk about that. How long you've been doing it, and how did you get into it?
I started at 16.
You're 16. You started.
Yeah. So Pilot Mountain Fire Department.
Yeah.
Why
did you get into it? Why? Did you like fire, or you like guns already? You like fire?
No, one of my buddies I was in school with, his birthday was a little bit before mine, so he was family friends with the chief. He joined the hall, and then he just convinced me to come with him after I turned 16. So I agreed to go, and the rules are very different than they are now for cadets.
Okay, talk about it.
Well, so regional district, they've got the volunteer halls, and they've got the cadet program. So back then it was 16 to 18. You could join as a cadet. Now it's 19, goes to 19. Okay, and the rule, it's not so much the training, it's what you can do as far as calls go, changed a lot from when I was there. When I first started. So they're a lot stricter with what the cadets can and can't do now. So it's, unfortunately, it's very limited as to what a cadet can do when there's an actual call out. They can still come, do all the practice, but they can ride in the truck, and that's almost it when it comes to a call. But when I started, I was going on calls. First practice, so I show up, basically, I'm here to check it out. So I can't remember who it was. One of the guys pulled me off to the side, found some gear that sort of fit me, threw me in gear. And that night they happened to be doing what was called a make and break drill, which is, you can do it as a timed event. There's actually competitions for firefighting. So if anyone's ever been to the PGX, they used to have the firefighter games. So
do you still have it?
No, not anymore. Not the firefighter games.
All the good things is just like, man.
Oh yeah, the firefighter games are fun. All the volunteer halls would send a team each year, and it was tons of fun.
Did you practice in those too?
Oh yeah, I participated.
Oh wow. How was the experience?
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's a competition for what we're doing. It's there's for the competitions there's team and individual. So the teams, you have the make and break drill, which is simulating a broken line. So the way that works is
what is a broken line?
Broken hose line.
Okay, good.
Okay, so the way the competition works out, you'll have what they call the hydrant, so some sort of water source, one length of hose, and then 2 lengths right beside each other, and then another length of hose, and 2 nozzles. So it's timed. You start out behind the line, timer goes, and it'll be 5-man team. You run to different positions, predetermined. Hook one of the hoses in, hook up a nozzle, water gets turned on, you spray target. As soon as the target goes down, water gets turned off. Disconnect the middle line, disconnect the nozzle, swap out the nozzle, swap out the middle line. Water comes back on, spray another target. So my first practice night at the volunteer hall, they were doing that drill. And because it's timed, so one of the guys told one of the other cadets, okay, one of the tricks to get a faster time, you don't do the coupling on the hose up all the way.
Yeah.
Minimum 2 threads.
Yeah.
Okay, so the threads, basically the screw that holds it together, right? So 2 complete revolutions.
Yeah.
That's what he said. The person doing it didn't quite understand 2 complete threads, so they went 2 twists. Water comes on, hose pops apart, hose goes flying, spraying water, I get soaked. I wasn't the one doing it, I was just standing back, but yeah, so hose goes flying, I just get soaked, and I'm hooked. Yeah, I was definitely coming back after that.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
So how long, so talk about you're still doing it, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So what are some of the things that you've done and some of the crazy things that you've seen without exposing anything? Because it's such a tough job. People, they think, it's firefighter, the fire truck when you were a kid, they don't know, like, it's insane. It's not easy, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, we do all sorts of stuff. We do structure fires, we do medical, we do vehicle accidents, all that stuff. So, I mean, yeah, I've seen some pretty horrific stuff, unfortunately. But yeah, no, it's...
You want to talk, can you talk about some of them or not?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Anything in particular you're wanting to hear? Or?
Whatever that you think is the best. Give me a couple. Just talk about a couple of incidents.
Well, actually, my first structural fire was right after I turned 18. So, I mean, that was... So back then, the cadets, we were allowed to go to scenes, but we weren't basically allowed on the nozzle on an active fire as a cadet. So just turned 18, full-on structure fire. So me and my same buddy, actually, that got me into it, he's still one of my best friends. So we're on the nozzle spraying that thing. It was, what had happened is the guy had a kitchen fire, a little stove fire, thought he'd put it out, and it got into the ventilation. Didn't realize that, went to bed, wakes up to the fire alarms going. At this point, it's in the attic, and
everything is burning.
Yeah, the whole attic's on fire. At that point, there's no saving the building. So it was what they call a surround and drown. So we basically just surrounded it and just poured water onto it. I can't remember how long we were on it for. Eventually, part of the building fell in. Eventually, put the fire out. But
were you freaked out a little bit when that happens? When the building caved in, or?
Not overly. We'd already pulled back at that point, so it was definitely a pretty interesting call. We pulled up. I was actually riding in one of the tenders, so one of the water haulers. So we've got a front primary engine. That's our pump, moves the water out where we are. There's no hydrant, so we've got to bring water to the call. So then we have a couple of trucks that are called tenders, and they're basically just water trucks. They just bring water to the scene. So I came in and I can't remember if it was first or second tender, got on scene just in time to watch the power lines burn off the building. So big blue flashing sparks, power line comes down.
Northern Lights.
Oh, Northern Lights have nothing on that. It's, watching a live power line burn off, it's...
What does it look like? Is it the explosion?
Really bright spark. Blue, bright, brighter than the lights you got in here. Just, it's one big flash, and then it's hit the ground, sparked a couple times, and then stopped. But yeah, so there's a line on the ground, can't go anywhere near it because you don't know if it's still alive or not. But yeah, when it first came down, it snaked around, zapping, and it was interesting watching that go.
That's crazy.
So yeah, they ended up going, hopping on, put on an air pack, hopped on the end of a line. My buddy and I were spraying water through basement window, trying to suppress the fire as best we could. At one point, actually, the guy had ammunition in the house, so that started cooking off.
Did it start exploding, the ammunition?
It started popping, yeah. So, my first structure fire, and I had rounds go past my head.
Are you serious? The bullets were flying around?
Yeah, so there's, me and my one buddy there, we're spraying through the window. I think I was actually on the nozzle. I think he was right behind me. There's so much pressure on those hoses. You put 2 guys on it. Yeah, there was 2 snaps in the zing. So, I mean, we could hear the rounds popping and cooking off, and they're off in a corner. Didn't really think too much of it. And then all of a sudden, there's just 2 pops in his, two snaps in the zing. So I was like, okay, time to back up.
That's crazy. If they were in the safe, that problem wouldn't happen, right? If the bullets were in the safe, would it seal? No?
Well, I mean, there you get into that potential sealed container. The whole container can turn into a bomb at that point.
Oh, for God's sake! Like, there is no safe.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things that kind of bugs me is you get MythBusters saying, "Oh yeah, live rounds cooking off and the fire isn't dangerous." And yeah, maybe not. Like, I mean, that call, there was a couple of rounds punched through a wall, came right by my head. Like,
Yeah, and it's not even in a barrel, right? So like,
yeah, no, it's not in the barrel. So that's, yeah, people
it's
try
crazy,
and,
man.
yeah, wherever someone tells me that live rounds cooking off outside of a gun isn't dangerous, yeah, no.
even even if you have a thick safe, it's still not safe, right? Or
Well, like I said, that's if it's not a vented container,
oh,
right? A vented container, it can vent the pressure.
Okay.
Non-vented, the whole thing can turn into a bomb potentially. That's,
this is good to know, right?
yeah,
That is good to know.
honestly, I don't worry about it too much when it comes to storing the guns. It's if there's stuff cooking off or popping, I don't care if it's
Just run away.
Well, I was gonna say I don't care if it's ammunition or if it's a propane tank or what it is. It's all it has, and you're gonna back off.
Yeah.
Right? It's yeah, we've been on scenes where propane tanks have cooked off, and
Did it explode?
oh yeah,
You had one of them exploded.
yeah, well, 1-pounders.
Oh, okay, you're talking about the smaller. The big ones have the pressure release from, right? So
Yeah.
they don't usually explode from what I know.
Don't normally. You can get into what's called a BLEVE, boiling liquid expanding vapor explosion.
And then the whole freaking thing can explode.
Yeah, so if it's pressurizing faster than that relief valve can vent, the whole thing can go, and I mean, you're talking a huge area.
How big are we talking about?
Well, it depends on the size tank. I mean, you get out in the rural areas, you can get those ones where that's the heat source for the winter. So we're talking great big giant tanks.
Oh, you're talking about those big? I'm talking about like maybe these ones. Right?
Oh, you know, I'm talking like the ones that are servicing a house.
Oh, of course, that's gonna take the whole block down. You know, in some countries, that's all you have, right? What
Yeah.
happens? It's not gas. I think it's propane, right? Because there is the electricity is too expensive.
Yeah.
So in some countries, everybody, I've seen it. Like they have like underground, they have something like I don't know from over there to over that closet, almost like 30 feet, sometimes 20 feet, things underground, and they fill it up with I think
Propane?
in diesel.
Oh, diesel.
Diesel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Diesel,
right.
yeah. Yeah, diesel's not as bad as propane.
Are you serious? It's safer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Oh, this is we're really getting out there, eh?
Oh, yeah. Oh, so, yeah, that's, that was my first structure fire.
So what was another one that was just crazier than this? Do you have anything more crazier than this? I mean, that's pretty crazy, right? It's like they're giving you a welcome.
Yeah, well, I don't want to go into some of the gorier ones, because, I mean, I've had ones where there's been,
Sorry.
oh, yeah, no worries. I've been on ones where there's been people ripped open. I've been on,
We cannot talk about
yeah, so that's what I said. Like,
talk about close calls.
well, there's one. It was a vehicle accident. So a couple of younger adults, teenagers, driving home, and I knew the driver by reputation. I didn't know him personally, but he out in the same area as us.
He's
right?
famous for driving like crazy, or
Yeah, double the speed limit is what he considered slow.
oh man, that's
So
terrible.
yeah, and this wasn't the first animal he hit.
Yeah.
So
Wait, this wasn't the first time
no, this was not the first time he hit an animal.
that you would think. You know, if you make one mistake, you will adjust your.
Well, so there's an area out there called Garvin's Canyon. So it's a dip in the road, and yeah, I believe he hit a bear there once, and you'd see him coming, going 200 km an hour down the road, and all of a sudden slams on the brakes, slows down, goes through Garvin's Canyon, and then stomps on the gas again. Because you're only gonna hit bears in Garvin. Yeah. So with this particular one, he was heading from town back out to where he lived. Had a buddy in the passenger seat. They went through Garvin's Canyon and they hit a moose, and they hit the back quarter of the moose, and the moose was throwing at least 15 yards. So I mean, it hit hard enough to throw the moose, and they're just in a little tiny car.
I was just gonna say, what kind of a car can? Because I've seen people cars get hit by moose, and that's it, it's finished.
Oh yeah, well, and so it was the front corner of the car that hit the back corner of the moose. Yeah. Basically ripped the moose open, threw the moose. It was another 2 kilometers down the road before they stopped. Yeah, and this is probably going to disgust some people, but when they hit the moose,
The guts.
because they ripped it open, the gut pile hit the windshield. Windshield came down, it did the whole cracked spider web thing, and it separated from the roof. So the gut pile basically got shredded as it went over the glass, all over the passenger. We could smell it before we got to the car. And to make things worse, the passenger was texting on his phone when they hit, so smashed his front teeth out on a cell phone. Yeah, so, so we get there on scene, and someone obviously got there before we did and called it in. So there's an SUV sitting there, and he's sitting on the back of the SUV, just covered head to toe in shredded moose gut. You could tell who on the department was a hunter and who wasn't by how well they're keeping their lunch or well, their dinner down. And for some reason, I ended up dealing with the passenger there. And so I come up to him, trying to talk to him, and he's spitting out moose gut and chiclets.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's and then like I said, with the volunteer hall, we do medicals as well. So I mean, I've been on calls where people have had heart attacks, minor stuff where it was basically a non-event. It's all the same stuff the career halls go to.
That's crazy. Would you like it? Because there's so much trauma. I mean, there's so much crazy things.
So, I mean, with the volunteer hall, we don't man it 24/7. We'll carry pagers or radios or something like that. So, call comes in. You could be at home having dinner with your family or doing whatever. Call comes in. Everyone drops what they're doing, goes to the hall, and you're going to somebody that's having the worst day of their life. So, a lot of people don't seem to clue into that. Like that pager goes. Somebody's having the worst day of their life. I'm going to help them out. Right? Like, I'm dropping whatever it is I'm doing to go help that person. But so
that's what you do. That's
So.
amazing, man. We're gonna finish soon because I guess your father is getting tired, and then I want him to come here and sit with you.
Oh yeah, no worries.
But one thing he wanted to emphasize that the guns that you bring to the instructing, they're
Oh, they're all disabled. Yeah, so
that's important.
Yeah, when it comes to the PAL class, it's very much a safety course, right? We're not there trying to make experts out of the people. We're not trying to turn them into marksmen. We're just giving them the basic safety fundamentals to get started. Okay, and the firearms we use, they're all disabled. So the rules have changed over the years as to what has to happen to them. The old guns, there'd be great big huge slots cut out of them, all sorts of stuff like that. The newer ones, the firing pins are all out of them. Okay, so even if you brought live ammunition to the course, stuck it in the gun, pulled the trigger, nothing's going to happen. Okay, there's no way that gun will shoot. All the ammunition that we use is all dummy rounds. It's not real ammunition. It's all inert, cannot go boom. So you take those rounds, stick them into a real gun, pull the trigger, nothing's going to happen. Okay, gun will go click, that's it. So.
That's perfect. Do you want to talk about anything else before we finish?
If there's anything you want me to cover, gladly, but...
Talk about maybe some of your favorite experiences.
With the course or with...
Anything you want, whatever comes to mind.
Well, I mean, with the course, it's we're constantly dealing with people that are coming in to learn firearms. I mean, I love firearms.
I know.
Yeah,
I know you love firearms.
I grew up with them.
The way you smile, you like fire too.
Oh yeah. Why do you think I became a fireman? Oh, you want firebucks? Go to a fire department. Yeah, no, I mean, with the firearms, I mean, I love them. I work on them, I play with them. I should be careful. I don't play with them, but I enjoy...
Professionally.
I enjoy shooting with them. I use them for hunting, all that kind of stuff. So the courses, as far as I'm concerned, it's great. We got people that want to learn about firearms coming in. It's just a great experience.
So. Perfect. What is your website? Where can people find about you?
I'm going to mess this up. PG Firearms Safety. I believe. If you type that into Google, our website will come up. Yeah, I probably have it slightly off. I'm being corrected.
Your mom, his mom is also here. The whole family is here.
Yeah.
She's the boss behind
the best way to get a hold of us is actually by phone. So 250-967-4456. Okay, call that. You'll talk to, hopefully, Catherine. Don's got pretty bad hearing, so if you get him on the phone, ask to talk to Catherine. She can give you all the info on the course, and she's the one that does the booking for us. So I just show up and teach, which is another great part of it. So,
since we talk about all these things that you have done, you seem like somebody who's very passionate and they do what they love. Why is it important to follow your passion and then...
Well, I mean, if you're not doing what you love, what's the point, right? I mean, at that point, you're just stumbling through life. So, yeah.
Okay. It was a pleasure to have you on the show, and I'm just going to finish it, and then we're going to go. Thank you very much for joining us on this episode. I hope that you learned a lot of new things, and especially following your passion and helping other people. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you soon. That was amazing. Okay.